Today we're diving into one of the most important and honestly one of the most misunderstood parts of our whole political system, the Precinct Caucus. I want you to forget what you think you know about politics for a minute because we're going to show you where it really all begins. Hint, it's probably a lot closer to home than you think. So think about it for a second. Every single political party has a platform, right? A list of what they stand for on healthcare, the economy, education, you name it. But where do those big ideas actually get started? Is it just a few party leaders in a fancy office somewhere deciding the whole thing? Well, the real answer is way cooler than that. Believe it or not, that entire massive structure of party politics, all those big speeches and policy papers, it doesn't start at the top and trickle down. It starts right here, in a local school gym, a community center, or maybe even a church basement. It starts with a simple gathering of you and your neighbors. So, let's break it down. What exactly is a caucus? Well, at its heart, it's the very first step in the political process. It's the absolute grassroots level where your voice can have a real, immediate impact. Okay, so the first thing you've got to know is this. A caucus is not a government-run election. It's a meeting that's run by the political parties themselves. It's where people in your specific voting area, your precinct, get together to talk about what matters to them and really kick off the whole election cycle. So why should you bother going? Well, this is your chance to do way more than just fill in a bubble on a ballot. You can actually stand up and speak for a candidate you believe in. You can bring up an issue that you feel like nobody is talking about. You can even help write the party's official platform. It's an incredibly powerful way to make your voice heard. And hey, you'll meet neighbors who care about the same stuff you do. Okay, so you go to your neighborhood meeting. Awesome. But what happens next? How does this one evening in your town connect to the bigger statewide picture? Well, to understand that, we first have to clear up something that trips a lot of people up. This really gets to the heart of it. A government-run primary election is a formal process. You go in, cast a secret ballot, and you're done. A caucus, on the other hand, is a public meeting run by the party. It's all about open discussion and debate. And because it's all happening on one specific night, at one time, it creates this really unique, focused energy. It's a true community event. So here's how it all connects. Using Minnesota's DFL party as an example, you can see this ladder. It all starts with you, at your local precinct caucus. The people you elect as delegates there, they move on to the next level, the organizing unit convention. And from there to the congressional district. And finally, all the way to the state convention. It's like a domino effect, and your neighborhood meeting is the very first one to fall.
All right, I hope you're convinced you're thinking about going, but what's it actually like inside that room? Let's walk through caucus night step by step so you can walk in feeling like a pro.
First things first, get your calendar out. The next statewide precinct caucuses are set for Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. Now, the doors usually open a little earlier, but the official meeting kicks off at 7 p.m. sharp. And this is the same date and time for all major parties across the entire state. So, who can show up? The rules are actually super open. Basically, if you generally agree with what the party stands for and you aren't an active member of another party, you're in. And get this, you can actually participate in the discussions even if you're only 16 years old. You just need to be 18 by election day to vote on motions or to be elected as a delegate. How cool is that? So, what happens when you get there? It follows a pretty clear path. You'll sign in, maybe chat with some neighbors. Then the group actually elects its own leaders for the meeting, right there on the spot. So yeah, you could totally volunteer to be the chair. After that, you'll hear from candidates, elect those delegates we talked about, and then you get to the real meat of the night, introducing and voting on ideas, or what they call resolutions. Now, this is super important. Your right to participate is actually protected by law. The state of Minnesota recognizes how vital this process is, and they've put some specific rules in place to make sure you can be there. Listen to this, because it's a big deal. You legally have the right to take time off from work to go to your caucus. You just have to give your employer 10 days written notice. The parties are also required to make things accessible. That means trying to provide interpreters or getting you written materials ahead of time if you need them. This is all about removing barriers so everyone can participate. And to show you just how seriously the state takes this, on caucus night, all kinds of other public meetings are basically banned after 6 p.m. We're talking city councils, school boards, even public schools can't schedule things that conflict. The message from the state is crystal clear. Caucus night is a civic priority.
So, we've covered the what, the why, and the how. But now let's talk about what is without a doubt the single most powerful part of this entire process, the power of an idea,
Your idea. I want you to just let this sink in for a second. Every plank of the DFL platform began as a resolution at a precinct caucus. That means every single major policy goal that party fights for started out as an idea, probably written on a simple form in a room full of neighbors by someone just like you. That is the literal definition of grassroots democracy.
So as we wrap this up, just remember, this is so much more than some boring political meeting. It is a forum for your ideas, your passions, and your vision for the future. So the only real question left is, what idea will you bring to your neighborhood meeting?